So I do normally really like to bring up my vibration levels, my energy levels before filming a video anyway, because I feel like the viewing experience is a lot better when I'm in a hyped up mood. I just give across a more vibrant, sort of energized energy to the video that I hope that people watching the video can then sort of feed off. But today in particular, I did a bit of a longer dance, bit of a louder dance, played some music, running around the flat, throwing sage everywhere, trying to really embody the energy that is encouraged to be celebrated this month, and that's because we are now transitioning into Aries season. Other than the seasons that we already know and love, such as autumn, spring, summer, there are astrological seasons that I think are just as exciting as watching the weather change around us. We can actually home in on these sign shifts that we can experience throughout the year to work on internal stuff. So just like things around us are changing as the year goes on, I love the idea of evolving, working and adapting on different parts of ourselves in a way a bit like therapy encourages us and tarot encourages us to focus on certain things and reflect and take the time out of your day to be still and concentrate on parts of ourselves that we might have forgotten about or not looked at for a while. We can really encourage ourselves to do that. When the sun shifts into different parts of the sky, we've transitioned into a new sign season. As you can see, Aries is the color of red, and I am embracing some of that. I don't have a lot of red actually. I realized this morning when I was getting changed, I was like, I don't have a lot of red. So I got my brightest lipstick on. I've always found it a lot of fun to be inspired by the latest movie that I watched or a fun song that I'm currently into. I love being inspired by the season changes. So like autumn, I'll love doing more autumnal looks on my clothes and my eyes. And we can also do that with all the different signs around us. So I wanted to bring a series onto this channel where I help you celebrate and embody the sign that we happen to be falling into at the current time I make these videos. So there will be 12 episodes. So obviously you can expect a new video every month, and each video will be welcoming in that season. I just think it's a really cool way to focus on how we can use the energy we'll be feeling at that time of year to work on our personal projects, our love life, our communication, our relationships. Use it to help us learn tarot a bit better, because each tarot card represents a different sign. Get to know and love the different elements of different signs, or even our lovers a bit better, our friends, our family. So there really isn't a better sign to start this series off with than Aries, because Aries is actually the very first sign of all of the signs. Technically, right now we are at the astrological new year. We are starting a fresh new year because by the 20th of March we finally reach Aries season, and that's the first sign of the lot. So we are technically inviting in a brand new astrological year. So happy new year, everyone. So I thought that was a really perfect way to start off this series at the very, very beginning of the fiery, the passionate, thrill seeker Aries. So the ruling planet of Aries is Mars, which signifies war and energy. So it's a really upbeat energy to welcome into the year, but that's generally how we feel when we enter the new year. We are ready to start on our new adventures and work on our goals. We generally feel very pumped and motivated at the beginning of the year because a lot of people like that feeling of a fresh new slate and being able to use that to our advantage and work on all the things that we want to bring into our lives. And we're transitioning from Pisces energy, so we're leaving behind the Pisces season that we were just in and welcoming Aries. And I feel like that's a really nice transition because we can use that Pisces season to do a lot of deep soul searching. Pisces is all about being connected with your emotions. It's a very stagnant energy. It's very still and quiet and peaceful. It's very opposite to Aries, but we can use that energy, that imaginative, creative energy that Pisces has, to really dream big, to embrace the biggest, wildest dreams that our imagination can take us to. And then Aries comes at just the right place to sweep us on in to getting shit done. What can we actually do? How can we actively, physically move our bodies and work in a way that makes dreams become reality? So all of these tips and tricks, activities and ideas, all encapsulizes the idea of starting anew. Just like New Year's Day feels like the opportunity to have a fresh new slate, the first day of Aries is your chance to raise your vibrations and start doing things differently. Doing things bigger and better and more in touch with yourself and who you are and what you want. You can change the way you act, you can change the way you think, you can change the way you behave, you can change the way you look, you can shake things up. This is your invitation to shake things up. That is something that I really felt like I've needed to do. I find it really hard to let things go. I'm a Cancer, I'm a crab, I cling on to things, so I can embrace this Aries energy, which is very far from what is close to my heart, and I can use it to my advantage. The way I like to see it is Aries is a fire sign. So you want to start thinking about what sparks you want to start creating, like a match, to eventually build into a fire. You can see the matches as ideas and the strike as action. See how just a tiny idea, a tiny spark can start creating an entire flame. But not in the house, thank you very much. I actually think the Aries season suits spring, which it happens to fall into really well, because spring representing new life, bouncing energy, new beginnings, progress, birth, new life. It also happens to be the beginning of the financial year. If you're a business person, you'd know that the tax year begins at this time, and to me that represents starting, like, it represents a new business. This time of year is really good for you to start doing what needs to be done to become an entrepreneur if you want to be one, because Aries season is all about self-empowerment, leadership and boldness. It basically just embodies our most animalistic traits. Think anger, raw sexuality and wild passion. So it's a time about being confident, courageous, adventurous, all about making things happen. And with that, a lot of the things that they decide to do and want to do can be quite spontaneous as well. I mean, that kind of gives you the answer to why they are a fire sign, because they're hard to control and they just sort of go where they please. They are a very strong, wild, red force of nature that actually just runs the show. If you think about it, also at this time of year we're likely spring cleaning. We're coming out of our winter shell, so we're making the house feel fresh again, which aligns really nicely with the whole vibe of Aries season. So from March 20th to April 19th, you can take part in any of these activities I'm about to go through. Have fun with them though, change them up, switch them up. Everything I say isn't the be all end all. The whole point of this is that you do it in the way that your intuition feels drawn towards, and ideas you can implement into the stuff that I've already said. Feel free to leave comments down below on stuff that you do in this season, some ideas you've taken from this video and stuff that you would like to try. Let me know, maybe come back to the video and tell me how it went. Do you like this season? Do you hate this season? Like what's your favorite parts about Aries? What's your least favorite parts? How do you embody energy of an Aries as a Pisces or a Cancer who might be very different to that kind of spirit? Let me know. I want to have discussions down there in the comments, and as always I'll be replying to a lot of them so we can kind of chat down below. How to celebrate Aries season. Let's begin. To really summarize the rest of this video, we're going to be exploring the main elements of what being an Aries means, and that is being physical, taking a stand for yourself, going after your dreams, working on your confidence, and channeling your anger as a tool. So even the quote-unquote negative parts of an Aries, when most people would say, oh, they've got a bad temper, actually we all need every single human emotion that we experience on a daily, because they are there for a reason. We can work out why they're there, what it means that they're there, what can we do about the fact they're there, how can we channel that as something that works for us rather than against us. So instead of suppressing things, we embrace them. Remember, this is about celebrating the season, so we don't want to just shut off parts that make Aries who they are. We want to make sure that we welcome them in with a cup of tea and we say, look, let's work together on this. So let's start with number 1. Take part in more physical activity this month. Especially after the winter months and after Pisces season, it's really important to get our bodies moving again and get that energy flowing back up in the air, back in the house. Implementing some more workout routines or a morning routine that encourages dancing a bit more, letting yourself loose. Try putting at least 2 to 3 extra pieces of exercise into your weekly schedule. Just inviting more movement into your daily life and your routine allows your body to flow a bit more. It helps with creativity, it helps with emotions. We don't want to block anything out, we just want to feel everything through our entire bodies. Like, we don't want there to be any stagnant energy, particularly this month. We don't want us to feel blockages or even financial blockages. We just want to embrace a natural flow for our bodies. Encourage letting things go as much as we want to encourage bringing them in. But not only that, Aries is a very animalistic sign and they love competition. So competitive sports is actually something that would be perfect for this time of year if that's something that you could see yourself taking part in. I know it's not for everybody, but something like fighting sports would be the perfect combination. It's very Aries energy, it's very active, it's very competitive. If not, you can kind of embody that competitive nature with sports that involve timing. So you could compare your scores with somebody else, even if you're not physically with them. You could, try and beat your sister's running time or walking time or distance. Racing on like motorcycles or bikes, it's moderately risky, and Aries like that element of there being a risk involved with the stuff that they do. You can really take this to extreme routes if you wish, and properly infuse the idea of that with the idea of fire being the element of Aries, and decide to finally take part in some fire / coal walking, whatever you want to call it, or fire dancing classes. Has anyone ever wanted to do that before? Now is the perfect time for that. On a little bit less of a physical note and less of a dangerous one as well. Swimming is a fun way to get active again, get more physical. It's fun, it doesn't involve a lot of concentration, and Aries don't really like sitting down and concentrating for too much time. They get antsy and fidgety, so swimming's really good. Like a sauna or a steam room would be a really fun thing to try at this time of year. A hot yoga class. As I said, Aries is the first sign of the lot, making them the baby sign. They're the newborn, the children of the rest. So you need to give them space to play. Play anything that you remember doing as a kid. Twister would be a really fun idea actually. Play some board games. Aries love things like Uno, Ludo, Frustration, really fast-paced competitive games where there's definitely like a winner at the end, but you're racing against time. Lots of field room to run in. If you've got a park somewhere or somewhere that is just loads of green grass, just run about, prance about, do some dancing, just move your body, or just open up the board game box that you haven't touched for ages, or even the old Action Men figures. Do you want to get those out again and just be silly for the day and throw them around and blow things up? But please don't do anything crazy after watching this video and get me in trouble for it, because hiking is a really good idea. The longer the hike, the better. Like, the newer the places that you're exploring, the better, because Aries love to explore new places, particularly with friends. They love that idea of possibly getting lost, like that risk that comes with hiking somewhere far away. Maybe even try swapping your usual spot with somewhere new. So try a different cafe, try a different restaurant. If you've got the same park that you visit, if you've got the same clothing store that you like to go to, change things up. Try somewhere new. Better yet, just get outside with no plan of where you're going at all and just see where your feet take you, because that, ladies and gentlemen, is Aries energy. But all in all, you don't have to sign up to any fancy classes or do anything extreme like walk on hot coals to embrace Aries energy. It can literally be as simple as turning up your kitchen radio a little bit higher than normal and having a dance over making your dinner, cleaning the house, or while running the bath, to really embrace fun, upbeat, silly energy that comes with Aries season. Number 2 is it's all about head. So Aries rules the head, meaning this month you can focus on head massage. If you're not lucky enough to have a fellow lover help you with this one, or if you're not up to a stranger doing it for you, a professional stranger doing it for you, you can buy yourself a head massager online on Amazon or something. And this is actually a good tip to take on board for anyone dating in Aries. Massaging their head will like release a tension and uptight sort of antsy energy that an Aries embodies every day in their life. They will almost feel that leaving their body, and I can vouch for that because I've dated one and I've seen it happen. Head massages release tension for everyone, to be fair. If it can totally soothe and calm even the most uptight Aries energy, then it can soothe and calm every sign. Embrace the scalp this month. This is also something to consider more so during full moon. You can Google when the full moon is. That's when our emotions are the most heightened. You're probably going to want a head massage more at that time to release that. If buying a head massager is out of your budget though, just concentrating a bit more on your scalp while washing your head, like spending an extra 5 minutes in your shower routine to wash your hair with more attention to your temples, and you can actually get some pretty affordable scalp exfoliator like scrubs that you sort of, it's like this gritty stuff that you kind of like massage into your hair follicles, so all that kind of scalp penetration will really relieve some pressure and help your hair grow longer. So best of both worlds. The head doesn't just stop at the scalp though. Obviously we can be bunged up and congested in our face as well, so there's certain things that you can probably implement into your routine that encourages release around the face. So you can get like neti pots and stuff, different types of oils that can release any like bunged up congestion. Number 3 is channel your anger. So Aries aren't afraid to act on what gets them all fired up. Unlike our previous Pisces season, we can start acting on solutions to our issues. You shouldn't suppress feelings, emotions, anger, the things that boil your piss. Like, these things should be worked on, focused on, embraced, and we should talk to them instead. You know, those emotions that we say, oh, I'm embarrassed about those, like they shouldn't be there, this is a negative trait. We should invite them in and say, what is it you need? Why are you here? What can I do for you? And how you can do that is journaling the stuff that makes you angry. And that can encourage you to really think about the ways that you can proceed in a way that lessens that. Because stuffing it down is very often the thing that makes it flare up spontaneously, or even just leave you feeling in a very depressed sort of sluggish state of mind. We can actually set ourselves some really useful and helpful boundaries if we notice what enrages us in the first place. So tune in to what is or who has been getting under your skin. And after making a note of these things, you can find yourself a third party that you can kind of process these feelings with and maybe hear it from another perspective, work out practical solutions moving forward to stop the amount of frustration that you're feeling with somebody or with a situation. Because what you don't want to be doing, and what isn't celebrating Aries energy, is sending off a aggressive text in the middle of all your anger and rage for that person, or phoning someone up to tell them off, or just aggressively trying to solve all of your problems in the middle of that pissed off energy that you've put yourself in trying to do this activity. And you'll probably find yourself in a lot of situations this month where you're tempted to do that because we're in Aries season. But often that leads us to a place of burning a lot of bridges that we end up regretting. So this kind of activity might help you discover that the missing link lies in your communication because you haven't been articulating needs or making clear requests. Because like I said earlier, it can help us with understanding boundaries that we need to start setting for ourselves. And the minute we can use anger as a tool rather than a weapon, it can help you learn how to ask for support in new ways. Or if the conclusion that you arrive to after doing this activity makes you understand that there are bridges that need to be burned, you know, there are toxic energies that you feel like you don't need in your life anymore, and certain situations are no longer serving you, then yes, you can also just take that initial move in stepping back. A lot of people use a similar kind of technique to this, but before doing something like using a punching bag or attending like a fighting class or just going to the gym, to let all of that angry energy that you've mustered up while doing this activity flow out of your body again. I feel like a lot of people just think that being spiritual doesn't involve being physical, but physical and spiritual goes hand in hand, basically. Being conscious of activities which help you release energies that you don't want to hold on too tightly to. In fact, there's a lot of rituals that you can take part in which involve very physical actions to let some emotions and feelings go and give yourself a nice grounded fresh slate. If you know of a place that you can go to which is a very open space that doesn't have any people around and it's a very isolated area, like in the middle of a field somewhere, in nature somewhere, that you know you're not going to feel self-conscious in or distracted by anything, that doesn't have anyone nearby which is likely to hear you, try going there and bring some sage with you to take part in a anger releasing ritual with yourself or others. It's up to you, depends if you feel confident enough doing this around somebody else. If you don't have a space to attend to like that though, you could do it at home, but maybe just use a pillow to sort of muffle your voice when doing it, because what you're going to need to do is sit quietly for a bit, inhale, exhale, ground yourself, focus on your breathing, focus on the air around you, you know, meditate, the typical stuff. Just focus on how your body feels. While doing so, stand with your fists clenched like this for 10 seconds. Inhale, exhale, and then finally when you're ready, breathe in your biggest breath and then release your biggest, deepest, loudest, primal scream or yell or like just noise, something that to you feels like it comes from a place where all of your anger and frustrations sit. And as you do that, you feel your anger, your frustration, your resentment, your rage just exiting your body with the voice, the energy that you're throwing out of your mouth. And then you can just keep on doing this until you feel a release, you feel lighter in your body. It will probably take a while for you to feel comfortable in doing this, as it probably would be a bit awkward the first couple times, but with each time doing it, you can feel more comfortable and at ease, and the more comfortable you get with doing it, the better effects you will feel afterwards. And then once you've done as many screams as you want, close your eyes and stand very still in the silence that's around you, which would feel more prominent now you're not screaming your head off. The silence will be a lot clearer and you will be more able to tune into that peace and that quiet, because you're comparing it to the loudness that you've just created. So then you can imagine the feelings that have been released from you being transformed by the surrounding energy and therefore being healed, almost like smothered by it, comforted by it, completely transitioned by it. People use singing bowls or drums or bells during this kind of practice, so that might also be a cool thing for you to do afterwards, just to make sound from a sound healing tool. But you don't necessarily need that, and then you can finish the ritual by saging the area, cleanse the area. You know, if you've got some crystals, hold them loosely on the palm of your hand perhaps, and then once you're home, or if you're already home doing this practice, make sure the neighbours know you're okay. If you haven't been screaming into a pillow, please, for the love of God, give yourself a shower and sort of feel that blanket of emotion release from you as the water hits your body. I always, when I have showers after a spiritual cleanse or whatever, like a ritual, I always feel as though the water's like washing a layer of my skin off. That's how I envision it, and then I come out of the shower feeling like really raw and fresh. Number 4, embrace your inner warrior. Aries is the warrior sign, so you could try a workout for the first time that incorporates martial arts, or maybe even sign up for a self-defense class or something cool like that. Boxing also, a boxing class can summon up Aries warrior spirit. And if you're into yoga, if you already do yoga, there's a lot of warrior poses that you can have a little look into to maybe incorporate into your routine a bit more this month. And as I said at the beginning of this video, I'm all about being inspired externally and creatively by the seasons. So externally, you could also have a little fun with some warrior themed looks. Dress like one, why not? Wear some red. Red is a very powerful warrior color. Wear some like metal jewelry pieces that remind you of that warrior vibe you're going for. You could even make your own freaking spear. How cool would that be? If some of you are like creatives in that department, sure, go for it, why not? You could even smear some warrior paint on your faces. Oh, I just realized I've got gems on today, probably shouldn't be touching my face. You know, smear some red paint on your face, on your cheeks, and do a fun photo shoot with the kind of transformation that you've just put yourself through, the new warrior in you that you're trying to embody that month, and take some photos of yourself. And speaking of photos, that leads me nicely to the next one. Number 5, celebrate and adore thyself. I'm going to start this one with a fun fact for you all. The selfie and the selfie stick were both inventions that were created during the tour of Uranus through Aries. Those are inventions that focus on the head and one's self. So I would encourage more photos of yourself this month. If you've never taken a selfie before, this is your time. If you already take loads of selfies, maybe try doing something that's different to what you're used to doing. Embrace yourself in new ways you haven't embraced yourself with before. Remember that Aries is the newborn of the signs. They're the red-faced, screaming babies that are crying for attention every day. So that's the sort of moves you need to be making on social media this month, or in real life. Wear red to make yourself stand out from the rest. Dig some of your old red clothing items out of your wardrobe and put them somewhere that's going to be easier and accessible this month. So red dresses, maybe red underwear. You can put some red nail varnish on. You can wear more red lipstick. You can use more red eyeshadow this month and do something fun with your eyes. With Aries, there's no one else to consider because they are it. Honoring your own lovely face and standing in yourself confidently. This month is about putting yourself into the center stage. Work on your posture. Do a pose that makes you feel powerful. Work on how you present yourself outside of photos and in the real world. How are you presenting yourself when you walk into rooms? What does your body language say about you? How can you work on a body language that is more powerful, that shouts, I am in this room, I deserve to be here, and my word is just as important as everyone else's, if not a little bit more. You aren't honoring yourself by being too modest. You should celebrate your successes, make them heard, tell all of your friends and family about all the wonderful things that you've done and you can achieve and you will achieve. Share your wins a little bit harder on social media. Devote this month to pumping yourself up a little bit more at work, amongst your colleagues, or heck, like Aries energy. would be doing that in front of your boss because you want to show your boss that you are also a boss in your own way. You know, don't just quietly tell your diary at night time that you achieved something great. Shout about it. Tell everybody. Phone people up. Freaking send your entire family an email and say, look what I achieved. Market yourself and promote your services a little bit harder this month. Direct people to your website, your photos, your links. Push, push, push. Maybe even consider doing a flash sale of some kind or an introductory offer for free to kind of like encourage new customers, make others aware of how great of a person you are, what you can do for them, how you can make their lives better. I mean, we've all been in lockdown recently. We've all probably achieved something like a personal project, something creative, or even if we've just made over our houses, our homes, we've done our bedroom over or something like that. Take pictures of it. Flaunt it. Even if maybe you've improved your own body, like you've done a lot of working out over lockdown, you can do a before and after. Take your after photo now and then be like, look what I've achieved. Isn't it great? There's bound to be endless amounts of unique attributes about yourself which you have that other people don't, and this is the perfect time to celebrate those unique offerings that you bring to other people's lives and your workspace and your friends and your own life. Even if that's parts of your body that's very different, how can you embrace that this month? Maybe you're an artist and a creative that can make something and create something which honors a piece of you that you would usually not want to embrace or talk about or show. So anytime you feel yourself or hear yourself make a remark that's negative, even if it's like a cynical joke, if it's something that's not too serious, the minute you hear yourself doing that or thinking that, shoot it down and say 2 nice things to replace that. When people compliment you and praise you, don't be too quick to rush back with a compliment in return or correct them or, you know, say anything else but thank you. Number 6 is dust off your bucket lists. So now more than ever is the best time to be a little bit more ballsy with the places in our bucket list that we tend to brush to the side, put off to deal with for another day. Take a look at your bucket lists, or if you don't have one, write one now. But do it from a really courageous, adventurous headspace. Really be big, bold and brave with the things that you write on there. Take a look at your bucket list and cherry pick some of the most adventurous items on there. Then make it a plan to do at least 3 of those things this month. You don't have to do them, but plan them. Get the ball rolling on the craziest parts of your bucket list. Maybe have a conversation with someone that can help you get your foot in the door to achieving that thing on your bucket list. Jump into things that don't have a definite outcome. Obviously, embrace Aries energy where and when it's necessary. Never lose touch of your grounded energy. Number 7. Playing with fire. Obviously, this goes without saying, if you are not an adult, please bring an adult with you if you want to take part in this element, but also just be careful. We're talking about fire. I don't want to get in trouble. We want to embrace the element within certain means, you know, keep your common sense hat on and don't be stupid. But now is a really good time to really enjoy fire for what it is, what it means, what it can bring, how it looks, how it feels, and fire is one of my favorite elements for sure. I'm a very watery sign. I've got loads of water in my birth chart, too much of it, too much. It's unnecessary. But I believe that's why I'm actually attracted to fire, because it's almost like what I need. Like, I feel as though going near fire balances me out. It removes some of that watery emotion that I'm always in. When I'm in water, I kind of feel like I could be there all day, but when I'm around fire, I just think it's beautiful, and I'm almost like a moth to a flame, but then I get eventually burnt. Enough about me. Bonfires. Perfect time of year to do some bonfires because it's starting to get a bit warmer. Organize a little ring of friends to sit around some fire. Even a barbecue, I feel like, is embracing fire because obviously you're cooking food together with people, using the element of fire, and I think that itself is pretty spiritual, but particularly because it's stripping yourselves back a little bit and you're amongst nature cooking food, using fire for what it originally has been used to do. And I actually feel like sitting in front of a fire pit is a really nice way to reflect on the way fire behaves, the way it acts, the way it moves, the way it looks, because I think that itself can tell you a lot about the Aries season. I don't know how many of you guys have ever attended a drum circle, sitting in a circle, playing together and banging on some bongos, making some noise. I feel like that's what Aries is all about, getting active, making noise, being loud around a fire. Oh, that's Aries energy all over. There's also a lot of rituals that involve fire, loads of rituals that involve fire. You don't have to be at a bonfire to do this. Take part in an activity with yourself or with your friends where you write down things that you want to release from your life. Write them down. You can read them out of your friends or keep them to yourself. It's up to you, but I would encourage to shout it out and say it to your friends because that's what I feel like Aries energy would encourage. And throw them into the fire. Throw your pieces into the fire and watch them burn and be released and moved from your life. A really simple ritual. You don't have to be on a bonfire pit to do that. You can do that in a little cauldron. You can just have a bit of paper, burn the paper, watch it set fire into flames, throw it in somewhere safe like a glass container or a cauldron. A very Aries thing to do would be to write an angry letter to somebody that's annoyed you or upset you, and then throw that into the fire shortly after doing so to let that weight leave your shoulders, because then you'll be able to express yourself to them after doing that in a more grounded way because you've released that initial inner charge. And it's not helpful to have too much of that, particularly when you're trying to problem solve with somebody who's pissed you off. Feel free to embrace candles a lot more this month. Bring out your fanciest candles, your biggest candles, just light more generally this month. In the evenings, just go nuts and light as many candles as you have in the house. Be careful, with more candles comes more responsibility. I would embrace red candles more this month, actually. This month could be the month that you light your more sentimental candles. Those of you with altars could light a red candle in the middle of objects that you can position around the candle that represent power, strength of will, motivation, determination, and that could be from bits of paper that has quotes on, or photographs, or images that inspire confidence, crystals that feel really energizing, or even a vision board that you've made yourself that includes all of those things I've mentioned. So then you can light that candle and focus on the energy and the power of all of those objects. And then you could speak some words, say a little spell such as, I light this candle to bring power, motivation, and success into my life. I will create my reality without trouble or strife. And then you can use that time to meditate on the things that means to you. So what is success to you? How will that feel on your life? Really visualize your specific intentions that you want to bring into the month in a very empowered, confident, strong place. Then when you've done that, you can let your candle burn there for the whole day. And then I would recommend doing this for 7 days after as well, to repeat that same action and acknowledge that the flame is working its energy in your favor. And then on the 7th day, remove your finished candle and reorganize the objects that you had placed around the candle and leave them there for the rest of the season to kind of remind yourself of the things that you're bringing in and that you intend to create for yourself by the end of the season. Number 8, spice things up. There's nothing bland about an Aries, so a fun idea could be to spice things up in the kitchen a little bit, turn the heat up a notch or two, depending on how much you can cope with and how much you usually deal with. So this month you could incorporate some spices into your cooking that you might not usually work with. Examples could be garlic, basil, thyme, saffron, rosemary, But if you want to turn the heat up a little bit more, maybe experimenting with some curry powders and hotter, spicy recipes that you've always wanted to try. Aries don't like repetitive patterns, basically, so maybe try stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit, even with the foods that you eat or even the drinks that you try. Embody that competitive energy of an Aries and contest with your housemate on how much heat you can manage eating or something fun like that. You can organize an Aries dinner one night and just base your food around Aries qualities or colors of an Aries, etc. Number 9, heavy metal. Another fun fact for you, metal is one of the elements of Aries. So what if you started working with it a little bit more this month? You could make some art with it, you can buy some metal decor, play around with some cast iron, for example. You could find some metal photo frames, some iron cookware. Maybe it's an element that you barely touch and you've barely even thought about, and this month could be that time to even find some jewelry that embraces that kind of warrior metal-esque vibe. Number 10, get out of this world. I'm just throwing all of the fun facts at you now. Mars rules Aries, and we know more about Mars than we've ever known before. So now is a good time to get your little planet books out, watch a documentary on Mars. There's loads of podcasts on these kind of topics. Find an article, read a book on Mars, look at pictures of Mars. You can even have a little Google for the times that Mars will be more visible from Earth, so you can maybe organize a night to sit out and gaze up at the planet that we are currently being ruled by, which would be a really fun thing to do if any of you have a telescope as well. If so, can I borrow it? Number 11 is make the first move. Particularly if you're a woman for this one, because I feel like traditionally the rules are men should be making the first move, blah, blah, blah. But Aries, they don't go by rules. They break the rules. So what about if I told you to message every single person on your Tinder match list? Finally, tell that person at college, at work, at uni, that you like them. If you are already in a relationship and you're already with somebody, perhaps you could use this chance to be the person who decides on the date, decides on the activity, decides what to cook, what to eat, makes that initial move and is that initiative to deciding to do something together, to make that first move in other ways. Perhaps you can be a bit more confident and dominant in the bedroom, not to get into specifics here, but Aries is a very sexual sign, and perhaps putting on a sexy red lingerie piece showing your more animalistic side would be a fun thing to do. Even outside of romantic scenarios though, next time you feel yourself shy away from something that requires power, dominance, taking a lead, taking a stand, do the exact opposite and push forward. Be that person who takes the job, who volunteers, who says, I'll do that speech, that talk. Do something that's just a little bit challenging, sure, but empowering. And that goes for friends and family as well. Maybe put on a surprise dinner for a friend, take them somewhere fun, spontaneously, throw them into an activity to do together, shock them with your initiative. Number 12, and one that I can really resonate with as a Cancer, get back in touch with your younger you. Aries is the childlike sign of innocent wonder. They are fresh-faced and a little bit naive. So to celebrate that, we can do something that we haven't done since we were a child. Dive back into that and remind yourself why you were so enthusiastic about it back then. And that could just be an old video game you haven't touched for years. Eating some food that takes you back to your childhood. Get back in touch with an old school friend you haven't spoken to for years. Play with old toys, stuffies that you haven't touched for years. And not only that, what if everything you greeted this season was from the eyes of a child? So if every person, place, experience that you find yourself in this month, view it as if it was the first time, because that's what children do. They are very in the present moment. They take everything as face value and they're ready to explore and learn things without their ego coming in or their self-doubt coming in. It might be a fun idea within this 4 weeks to drop all your assumptions, to be curious, ask questions. Even if they're questions that you already know the answer to, as a child would, they want to just continuously explore. That's why they always say why, and you might actually surprise yourself with some of the things that you discover, because it allows you to be open to something else that you're not assuming and that your own knowledge isn't aware of. We can always learn new things constantly, even in areas that we are professional in. We tend to shut things down if we believe that they're not right for us, or we're not capable, or it doesn't sound fun. Or a kid would say, let's do it, let's try it. I don't know, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means, so I don't have any ways to predetermine how it's going to go or judge it. I'm just going to go try it and see if I like it. And number 13, prepare for the next season. After Aries comes Taurus, and I think it's always really good to think about what season we will be welcoming in afterwards, because we can prepare ourselves to experience that new shift of energy, so we can make the most of what we have now in preparation for what we will have next month. And with Taurus being very much about structure and discipline and organization, I feel like now is a really good time to make your vision boards, use this fresh new slate start to be very bold with the things that you want to bring in, and be really courageous. Don't second think any of your big dreams, and be really ambitious about some of the biggest and boldest moves that you can possibly think for yourself this year. Get that all slapped down on a vision board, print things out that remind you of that, write things down, smother a page with all your intentions, the wildest intentions that you possibly have, ready for April the 20th, when Taurus will step in and allow us time to review those dreams and ambitions, figure out which ones are realistic enough to organize up into a schedule or a spreadsheet. So that's it. Those are my personal ways and activity ideas. Aries energy isn't for everybody, and it's not always comfortable. And the truth is that energy isn't always comfortable, but that's exactly why it's encouraged during the season, because it's about pushing your boundaries, and it's about venturing out of your comfort zone and starting new things that don't necessarily have a promised outcome. So now that you've watched this video, I hope you feel more ready to welcome in this Aries energy. You can even start by taking the time to meditate and visualize over the sort of space that you'll be heading this month. Sit wherever you feel comfortable, take deep breaths. As you're inhaling, imagine the breath growing a ball of bright yellow light in your stomach, and every time you take in a new breath, it just grows and expands and gets bigger, and have that ball of light represent courage and strength and willpower and confidence. Really visualize where you want the rest of the year to take you, what that means, how that feels. Imagine this golden light just reaching every area of your body, mostly in your stomach area, where you can translate it to a fiery, burning, enthusiastic ball in your belly, urging you to feel your inner strength and your power. You can recite mantras while doing this sort of meditation, such as I am strong, I am powerful, I am courageous, and you've reached it. You've reached Aries season. I hope you really enjoyed this video, guys. If you like seeing this kind of content on my channel, please give me a thumbs up so I know to keep this kind of content up and to keep this series going. Subscribe to the channel to be notified every time I make a brand new video, because I make videos very regularly here on the channel. I'm on social media such as Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. I have a spiritual Instagram now, which is separate from my normal Instagram. Follow me on there. I'll leave a link to that, which is very exciting. You can book a tarot reading on my Instagram page or on my Facebook page, Tarot with Ellie. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you for my next video. Loads of love from my house to yours. Get shit done this month. Bye.